And I wanted to ask, when did you first become aware of that you had that feeling of not being enough?
Right.
And how have you helped that evolve in the healthiest way possible? What has been that journey of almost having to live with it because it's there, but not letting it be your guiding light?
Well, you're right. It makes sense because I think if you use it as the right fuel, it can actually serve as a great motivating factor, right? It can push you, it can, stimulate you to extract the most amount of necessary energy on a daily basis to achieve your goals and to basically live your dream. I think for me, it started really as something that was inevitable as a part of the environment that I was in. I touched upon that a little bit in our conversation 5-6 years ago, my upbringing with several wars and sanctions and embargo and poverty and everything. So, from a very young age, I was basically forced to mature very quickly because I'm a oldest of the three brothers. I have two younger brothers. So as an oldest son to my father, I was basically kind of in a position where I had to be informed very early on, particularly the age of 11, 12, when we had that bombing and the war and sanctions, that state that we are in as a family or as people of my country, the situation, the circumstances, my father had to bring it forward to me in a very clear and mature way. So, one of the most impactful moments of my upbringing and my childhood is when he brought 10 Deutschmarks, and I've said this story many times, which is equivalent to $10. And he said, this is all we got for our family of 5, is living in a super small apartment. That's where it hit me. It was like, okay, now I have to take the means in my hands as a 12-year-old boy in whatever way I can. At least what I can do is support my mother, maybe from some of the burden that she has during the day of taking care of my younger brothers. And that's where it also hit me that not having success is not an option. Like, I have to succeed. It's basically a matter of existence, a survival of my family. So I think it started there. And then over the years, it has obviously transformed or evolved into different kind of form. But I think that, and also my relationship with my father, oftentimes because of maybe lack of patience of my father or of people around, because everyone saw that I have a talent. I was coming from Serbia that had no tennis tradition, no tennis culture. We are a nation of team sports. We are definitely a sporting nation. We love sports, but team sports. And at that point, during 90s, it was about survival. People were watching sports, but there was not much support for the sports. It was particularly not tennis, a very expensive sport at the time. I chose the most difficult sport for my parents in most difficult time for our nation and for my family. So oftentimes I wouldn't travel because we didn't have money. And then, obviously, as you can imagine, Tennis Federation didn't have, money to support me. So my father had to go and beg. And then he was also borrowing money from, unfortunately, even some criminals at the time during 90s. And then they would tell him, it's a funny story right now, but at the time it wasn't funny, particularly for him. But, he would go and he said, first time I was going to go to United States to play, I was 15 years old. I was going to play like big junior events here, like Prince Cup and Orange Bowl.